groups needed a little bit more assistance along the way to becoming members. And so the deeming process evaluates their activities, their progress, but also gives them guidance along the way. And the Deemsters Council meets at Lustration and receives applications from groups who feel they're ready to move forward. In theory, you can move forward one space every year, but many of our groups will take 5–10 years to move from Witan Shrine to Proto-Temple or from Proto-Temple to Temple. And this is completely appropriate, because that means by the time they get there, they have a very strong base. And others move much more quickly. But I attribute a lot of the longevity of our temples to the deeming process, which allows our groups to develop that very strong base. So today, the Right Reverend Ser Angela, who is the Templar Grand Deemstress, will be holding one of the largest deeming ceremonies we've had recently. And we will also be bringing people in through video, which is something that I don't believe we've ever done before. We have had people, I think, by telephone somewhere along the line, but never by video before. So this is wonderful. We had hoped to do a lot more live casting during this lustration, but that did not prove to be feasible. But this video is working because it's based on a different technology. So this is a wonderful development because we have groups all over the world who cannot usually be physically here for their deeming, but now perhaps we'll have a lot more people coming in through video. So with that, thank you all for your kind attention, and I will turn you over to Ser Angela.
I don't know if you'll be able to hear me. Reverend Kyle, we ask that you step forward.
Reverend Kyle, can you hear me?
Kyle, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine, Angela. Can you hear me all right?
How are you?
I'm well, how are you?
Very good. Okay, let's begin the questioning. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. What is the proposed name for your Proto-Temple?
The name I would like to propose is the Four Pillars Proto-Temple.
And where are you located?
We're located in northeastern Ohio near Youngstown.
Okay. What are your Proto-Temple's main goals and purposes?
So the main goal of the Four Pillars Proto-Temple are the same as the Witan Shrine. The goals of this Proto-Temple are to be a spiritual center for the Wiccan community. The Proto-Temple will celebrate the Sabbats as a group and will open to provide service for Wiccan practitioners. The main goal of the Proto-Temple is to cultivate devotion of the old gods through ritual, prayer, meditation, and other devotional practices. The shrine has provided members with ritualized prayers and prayer beads to help cultivate their devotional practices. The shrine has also developed provided members with a specific stylized ritual to help strengthen their practice and their devotional work. This prospective Proto-Temple is committed to creating a sacred space for members of the Wiccan faith and the Correllian tradition in particular to worship.
Did you quit over there?
Yeah, we're frozen.
Lost the call?
Yeah, it started cutting out really bad, so I think the Wi-Fi just couldn't handle it. Okay.
And you just stand in?
We do have a stand-in.
Bring him on back online for just a second.
Ms. Tam representing Four Pillars.
Can you give specific details on what your members and you have done in the last year?
This past year has been a very transformative one for our shrine. We recently gained a new member in our shrine, and although it might not seem like a big deal, it has been a very transformative experience for our shrine. This new member has helped to shake up our group and get everyone re-energized and excited about our group. We recently celebrated Imbolc as a group and made candles together. We held a vigil for the goddess Bridget. We also celebrated Yule this past December, where our new member was dedicated as an outer court member. We always feast and place a great emphasis on food in our gatherings, which keeps things very interesting. We also celebrated Samhain past. We attempt to celebrate every Sabbath when we can. The FPS is also becoming more active online, especially through our YouTube channel. This is the most recent activity. However, if you would like a more completed list, please let us know and we will attempt to provide more examples.
How often does your Proto-Temple meet?
With the recent change in the Shrine Keeper's work schedule, the Proto-Temple will meet monthly at the least. The goal is for a bi-monthly group meetings if possible. In the last year, we have met on average once every month. However, that does not include the times that the group has met informally with just 2 or 3 members to perform magic and other workshops.
How many members do you have?
Currently, we have 5 official members, not counting the spouses that often come for Sabbaths.
What has been the greatest challenge you have faced since first becoming a Correllian Witan Shrine? How did you handle it?
The greatest challenge for me is keeping my members interested and on task. So frequently my members have been distracted and not very dedicated. They have frequently refused to bring anything to contribute to the group by way of food, monetary offerings, or even simply conversation. To be honest, this was a major challenge for me. Gaining a new member has tempered this a lot, and since we have gained our new member, things have been better. The cavalier behavior, I believe, was due in part to the fact that several of our members had recently been pregnant and had since given birth. Their children are nearing 2 years old now, and the parents are now getting back to being involved and active in the group. And with the addition of our new member, I have seen the involvement grow. So frankly, the only thing I did to handle this behavior was to be encouraging and continue to be patient, and it has all begun to work itself out.
Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. What has been the greatest challenge you have faced as a pagan?
The greatest challenge for me has been finding interesting persons to network with. This has been so difficult because so many interested people aren't very serious or dedicated. This may be due to the lack of activities and services in our area, which have led to a complacent community.
I'm sorry, folks.
Yes, the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
He's back.
Oh, is he?
No, it's frozen. The Wi-Fi's gone.
Person they're calling me here.
Ready? Or not enough information or experienced people to help this community grow. Either way, it has been very challenging to find serious practitioners to network and work with. So instead of searching any longer, I decided to build something myself by way of my shrine, as a way to provide our community with the services I have seen lacking. As the saying goes, be the change you want to see in the world. This experience has challenges of its own, however, but in different ways.
In what way has being a pagan most benefited you in your life?
Being a pagan has brought so much richness to my life. It has allowed me to see the beauty of the world and to find my place within it. It has allowed me to connect with the deeper side of the universe, and it makes me feel like I have a place in the world. It can be difficult at times to keep my faith and to stay on my path, when there is such a little community in our area. However, generally speaking, my pagan faith has enriched my life and given it purpose, clarity, and such a profound spiritual health that I haven't been able to find anywhere else.
Will your Proto-Temple primarily be a real-time or online group, or a mixture of both? What special challenges does your format offer you?
This is a mixed group. All of our members currently are local, and we work predominantly in person. That being said, our shrine also had an organization page on Facebook, as well as a private Facebook page, which every member is required to be a part of.
There he is.
Hi, Kyle.
Do you hear where I am? Do you want me to finish this part?
Absolutely. Go ahead, please.
Okay. We also have a YouTube channel which is intended to provide education online to interested people as well as a blog. I feel that our format is basically challenge-free. In terms of the in-person group, it can be a challenge to find places to meet. However, our members are open to alternating meetings at each other's houses at this point. We hope to have a more stable meeting place in the future as we gain more members.
What projects do you have planned for the next year, and will a successful deeming make any difference to your projects?
If we aren't deemed as a proto-temple, we plan to continue providing Sabbath gatherings like we have done in the past, but we would like to add more community-oriented practices as well. We would like to focus on giving back to the community through volunteer work if we become deemed. This may take many forms, which the group is still discussing.
What kinds of projects do you hope to work on the next 10 years? And what are you doing to prepare for these? How can the Correllian tradition help you?
We are hoping to develop eventually into a fully chartered temple to provide more training, teaching, community outreach, and volunteer opportunities. These projects will be contingent on the amount of members we have, and we hope to steadily grow our membership base as well. However, we have realized that this has and will take time to achieve and won't be done overnight.
What special challenges, if any, do you face in the area, in your area, from other proto-temples, shrines, and temples?
Given the discussions I've had with other temple and shrine heads, I find the challenges we face pretty similar as with other areas, mainly the challenges of finding and keeping interested members. This is going to be the greatest challenge moving forward, in my opinion, but I hope we can achieve growth. Being able to accrue some monetary savings is a challenge faced in the pagan community as a whole, but I hope we can eventually gain some semblance of a budget in the future as well. As our membership grows, we hope to eventually develop a board of directors to help with the running of the Proto-Temple.
Who has been the greatest help to you during your time in the tradition?
I would like to preface first that answer by saying that I only brown nose a little bit. I have met so many wonderful people in the tradition and so many people who have been helpful to me. My first and second degree mentors have done their best. However, they haven't have in touch after and are in a little help with me outside of their specific mentoring roles. My third degree mentor, Rev Angela Munn, has been a tremendous help, more than anyone in guiding me, giving me advice and inspiration, and encouraging me not to give up on my shrine when I wanted to in the past. This has led to unprecedented growth with our shrine, and simply through patience and encouragement was this achieved. Of course, I certainly wouldn't be here today without the correspondence and help from Lady Wendy. Of course, we can all agree on that. With all that she has done for me and all the information she has given to me. I have also found Lady Elizabeth's account to be very influential as well. Not because she has simply done anything specific, but that she has helped me by simply being there and living her truth, which has been such an inspiration. All of her wonderful and beautiful works and crafts have been such an inspiration to me in my path in its own way as well.
Kyle, what do you think is most needed by the Correllian tradition in its future?
Frankly, I worry that function could lead to stagnant and dead branches. Newcomers may become lost and disillusioned by these dead ends and may seem to give up because they feel so lost and confused. Growth is necessary, this much is true. However, I feel that controlled growth and steady oversight to treat these dead cells is going to be a constant battle to prevent these aforementioned situations. This is the most pressing issue I can see at this time, and what I think the tradition most needs in the future to grow and flourish. Controlled, calculated, and monitored growth is necessary at this point, in my personal opinion.
Thank you, Kyle, so much for calling in and being with us today. It was so good to hear your voice. We thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Wait, I'm going to ask if Lord Don has any questions for you, or Lady Stephanie.
Absolutely.
I don't have any questions, but keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yay.
Good afternoon. Are you ready for the questioning to begin? Yes. Okay. What is the proposed name of your Proto-Temple?
River Glen,
Okay. And where are you located?
North Augusta, South Carolina.
Tell us about your Proto-Temple's main purposes and goals.
The purpose of River Glen is to provide a place for people to learn about and participate in the Wiccan religion, particularly the Correllian tradition. That will be done specifically. And that will be done primarily through rituals on Sabbats and Esbats and other special occasions to celebrate the seasons, work magic, recognize rites of passage, and honor the Lord and Lady. We'll predominantly teach Correllian Wiccan beliefs and traditional skills to members and students, both in the craft and kindred paths, and where appropriate to educate the general public about Wicca.
Are you virtual or an in-person physical Proto-Temple?
We are physical in person.
Can you give us specific details on what you and your members have done in the last year?
In April 2017, we attended North Carolina's Piedmont Church of Wicca's Beltane Brouhaha, which is held the same weekend as right now, where members attended workshops and were able to make their own athames in one of the workshops, and we were also able to have an information table on the Correllian tradition. In May of 2017, we did an Esbat ritual on the East and its correspondences, and participants in the ritual made their own incense to symbolize East and air. In June, we did an Esbat on South, where we used candle magic, and we also celebrated Litha. In July, we did an Esbat on West, and the participants made oils and infusions or water. In August, we celebrated Mabon with a feast and ritual of the harvest. We did a class on North, where the participants cleared and charged crystals for the crystal web. In September, we did a class ritual on gods and goddesses. We also performed the main ritual at upstate South Carolina's Pagan Pride Day, where we also had an information booth with assistance from Rev Lori. Did a raffle for which school, and were able to provide a lot of information to people about the tradition. In October, we held a Samhain feast and ritual, educating on various forms of divination. We also did an Esbat class / ritual on tools, where the participants were consecrated their ritual tools. In November, we did an Esbat class / ritual on magical alphabets, where the participants then decorated the consecrated tools with their alphabets. In December, we had a Yule feast and ritual with gift exchange, and did a class on Sabbats and the Wheel of the Year. January, we did an SFAT on SFATs and moon cycles and understanding those. February, we celebrated in bulk and we did an SFAT on scrying, where the participants made and consecrated their own black mirrors. And in March, we did an SFAT with candle divination and celebrated Ostara and did a blue moon.
Can you tell us how often you meet?
We meet for every full moon and usually 2 or 3 new moons throughout the year and for all 8 Sabbaths.
How many members do you have?
Hoping for many more.
That's good.
Okay, we currently have 4 members and are hoping to expand. 4
That's good.
active.
Okay, Lord Don and Lady Stephanie, do you have any questions?
I guess maybe to let you know that anytime you need help, that both Chancellor Don and myself is always available
Always.
to you. Always.
I have, because that wasn't a question, I will say that Rev Angela, I have talked with you through the shaman forums, Vivian, Dewey, Lori, that there have been several people that when I get in a tizzy or anxious, have been very receptive to providing calming to help assist with that.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Reverend Aisha, please enter.
Good afternoon. Are you ready for the questioning to begin? Okay. Can you tell us which group that you're reading for?
I'm reading for Proto-Temple, Inverness Forest Coven.
Okay. And where is this Proto-Temple located?
Houston, Texas.
Okay. Who are the heads of this Proto-Temple?
Eblis, Bedregal, and Ayra Alseret.
What are the Proto-Temple's main purposes and goals?
Their objective is to be a meeting space that provides knowledge about Wicca and paganism, strengthening formation and coexistence with activities around witchcraft and shamanism. Their purpose is to promote the study of Correllian nativist Wicca as a religious and a pagan option, that it coexists in harmony with the native traditions of the peoples so they can be reached through interreligious and cultural exchange.
Can you give specific details on what you and your members have done in the last year?
We have celebrated the Esbats and the Sabbats. They have activated the Crystal Network. They have worked with other temples and groups. We have welcomed the students of 2nd and 3rd degrees of Lord Príncipe Terion de Fira from Venezuela to give them a space where they can continue their studies.
And how often do you meet?
We have face-to-face rituals, and we work online every single week.
What has been the greatest challenge you've faced since first becoming a Correllian Witan Shrine, and how did you handle it?
So the one challenge that we had was to add students of Therion. We did it with pleasure, while we facilitated the work of the Venezuelan community. Previous experience as temples like Dragon Temple and Hecate Temple has been very important for us.
What has been the greatest challenge you've faced since, as a pagan?
We believe that the biggest challenge as pagans is in the language barriers, as well as in the pagan society itself. But both can be managed with effort and dedication.
Is your Witan Shrine primarily a real-time or online group, or a mixture of both? What special challenges does your format offer?
So it's both. The biggest challenge does not have to do with the format that is offered, because we both have experience in taking real-time and online groups at the same time. But with reconciling the way we work, and we have which the students were accustomed before.
What projects do you have planned for next year, and will a successful deeming make any difference to your projects?
The first is to promote the development and learning of our students. They have to grow and mature, learn and study in a comfortable environment that allows them to be tools for their communities. For us, it is also important that the santuario go to Proto-Temple to be able to explain the processes and live them as their own.
What kind of projects do you hope to work on in the next 10 years? And what are you doing to prepare for these? And how can the Correllian tradition help you to prepare for these?
We have not thought about where we will be in 10 years, although we hope that by working for the community, giving the best we have done so far in the tradition, and facing the challenges that the life is putting to us, we can continue on and have a bright future.
What special challenges, if any, do you face in your area that might be different from other temples, shrines, and proto-temples?
The most important is that most of our students are in Venezuela, and the social, economic, and political situation is very unstable. We work to give them security and support in any way that we can, showing them that their Correllian family is present and has them in their arms.
Who has been the greatest help to you during your time in the tradition?
Every person is important in the tradition, but we have had the greatest support from Lord Don, Lady Stephanie, Lady Wendy, Lady Anna, and of course from Reverend Hazor.
How many members do you have?
19 members.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Miss Katie, please enter and step forward.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Are you ready for the questioning to begin? Yes. Okay. Can you tell us what group you're reading for today?
Proto-Temple de Ereshkigal.
And where is this temple located?
It is located in Zacatecas, Mexico.
What are the Proto-Temple's main goals and purposes?
To continue to make known the pagan community, in general, the Sumerian culture and its mythology, especially the pantheon of it, and our patron deity, Ereshkigal. Also, to give first grade classes to people interested in the Correllian nativist tradition and help the Spanish-speaking pagan community in what is required. We are also willing to give workshops on various topics, whether they are the ones of the expected Proto-Temple, as well as collaborations with other shrines, Proto-Temples, and temples of the tradition.
Can you give specific details on what you and your members have done in the last year?
Currently, in the Ereshkigal sanctuary, we have members from different parts of the globe, countries such as Mexico, Venezuela, Argentina, and Spain make up our ranks. We have an enrollment of 9 students in total, in addition to the honorary members of the shrine, Lord Eblis Z. Pendragon, Lady Ayra Alseret, and Lord Tine Estrella de la Carden. Forming together with me, Reverend Pluma, Argenti, head of the Shrine of Ereshkigal, the work team of the shrine. We have the form of work and mentoring, both in personal and online, because we have students who are far from the country where the sanctuary is located in Mexico. The sanctuary has several projects underway. One of them, and which will be of a public nature, is the so-called Descending of the Gates of Ereshkigal, which is the first of 7 in total. The project is a guided meditation that aims to meet the guardians of the doors of the Sumerian underworld, Lugal-Gira and Mezlatamea. We seek permission to enter, to explore each of the 7 doors until we reach the throne of patron goddess Ereshkigal. It will be a path of self-discovery and spiritual growth, as well as a reconnection with our deepest self. In addition, the sanctuary has taken charge of looking for bibliography that speaks about the patron deity Ereshkigal, its attributes, its mythology, rites and hymns, among other things, and make them known to the Spanish-speaking pagan community, since little is known about this deity and because she is so misunderstood. The students, for their part, have created hymns and invocations to Ereshkigal, which can be seen both on the Facebook page and the official website. As part of their learning, they have been asked to, in each lesson, and in addition to the monthly deity of the lessons, investigate a particular one of the Sumerian pantheon so they can better identify themselves and learn about the mythology of this millenary and disappeared culture. Among other group works, trivias and similar dynamics have been made in order that the students better understand the learning given by the tradition and by the sanctuary. Also, in conjunction with Lady Ayra Alseret and Lord Eblis Z. Pendragon, workshops have been given in the country of Costa Rica about Hecate, its attributes, mythology, and the way of working according to the practices and studies presented in the Temple of Hecate of this tradition. Likewise, I have assisted in the ritual of initiation and dedication of 2 students belonging to the Dragon Temple in that same country. The edited books of the Temple of Hecate have also been presented, and in which I have had the fortune to participate as co-author in several of them, and as a cover designer and interior illustrations of the book, Hecate, Queen of the Thousand Names. Within the monthly activities at the Temple of Hecate, I actively participate in the devotional ritual of La Guardia de la Llama. In joint projects with other members of the traditions and the pagan community, I have participations with the Shrine of Ptah, with the ritual of each new moon called La Capilla de Osiris, as well as collaborations in the magazine Pisada de Bruja, in which I write about the Sabbats, history and folklore. And I also elaborate the oracle that will be presented between one festival and another through a tarot reading. The courses on Hecate described above have also been presented in Mexico City, forming a dumbbell with Lady Ayra Alseret. In short, we are doing our best to spread research and quality knowledge with the pagan community of Hispanic America. Since the creation and acceptance of the tradition of the Order of Cambiapieles has worked constantly. First, I served as the sigil designer of the order. Also, I have made files with the sacred animals to provide more information to those interested in the order who have little experience with shamanism. Throughout the year, I have collaborated with members of the tradition and the paganism with the creation, redesign, or digitalization of sigils. I can mention the following: Aurora Australis, Temple of Goddess Fortuna, Orden de Cambiapieles, Proto-Temple Bosque del Norte, Santuario Dama de la Luna, Santuario de Afrodita, Santuario de Ereshkigal, Santuario de Paz, Santuario Inverness Forest, Santuario Luna de Plata, Santuario Señora de la Muerte, Templo Tierra de la Gracia, El Stellar Labyrinth, Lyceum, and the order that is in process called Sacred Key Board Order. I have had collaborations in the radio program Voces Paganas, in which I have spoken about natural medicine, traditional Mexican medicine, biodecodification, and other alternative therapies, pursuing to maintain a balance in health and in all levels. I also created the new curtains of the program.
How often does the Proto-Temple meet?
We meet to celebrate each of the festivities of the pagan wheel, dates that we take advantage of to be together, get to know each other, and form a stronger bond like brothers of the tradition and shrine, besides solving any type of doubt that has arisen with the advance of the first grade lessons.
How many members do you have?
We are a total of 13 people.
What has been the greatest challenge you have faced since first becoming a Correllian Witan Shrine, and how did you handle it?
Finding information about the pantheon and the deity to which the sanctuary is dedicated, combined times with my students due to the differences in schedule and not being able to do outdoor activities as I would like because of the insecurity that our country is going through. That's why we do weekend sessions, either by chatting on Facebook or when we meet in our homes, speaking about the members who live close to each other.
What has been the greatest challenge you have faced as a pagan?
In general terms, the difficulties to find objective mentoring before I can begin to study with the Correllian tradition.
In what ways has being a pagan most benefited you in your life?
Being a pagan has given my life the balance, determination, and drive I had wanted so much during the first years of my life. It has allowed me to live unique experiences as well as to meet truly valuable people who have significantly marked my existence. I have found the vocation of my life within the path of paganism.
Is your Proto-Temple primarily a real-time or online group or a mixture of both?
Both of them. The complications that we have detected in this year of work is the incompatibility of schedules between our members. Since several live in other countries, it is complex to agree on some things. Also, for this reason, when we meet, some may not be present.
What special challenges does your format offer?
The combination of times with the other members of the sanctuary, since some cannot attend the celebrations either by time or distance.
What projects do you have planned for the next year? Will a successful deeming make any difference to your projects?
Continuing to support the pagan community in the ways you need and I can support. Continue to provide relevant information, translations, and works relating to Sumerian mythology and its pantheon. And I do believe that it would make a huge difference because I would feel supported by the tradition. It would give me the assurance that I am doing a good job. Besides, it would be an incentive to continue doing my work.
What kind of projects do you hope to work on in the next 10 years? And what are you doing to prepare for these? And how can the Correllian tradition help you to prepare for these projects?
I would love that 10 years from now, we will be a full-fledged temple, teaching classes of the 3 grades. And I would like to be a reference within the pagan community within my country, as well as having a physical space to dedicate to the temple, and to be able to work on it. But realistically, I prefer to make short-term objectives, and then I like to do an evaluation to see which are most feasible and develop them little by little. At this moment, I am studying my 2nd degree, and I would like the materials to have better access. In addition, it would be very nice to meet all the people of the tradition, even digital means, since the Anglo-Saxon community and the Spanish-speaking community is not so united as I would like.
What special challenges, if any, do you face in your area that might be different from other shrines, proto-temples, or temples elsewhere?
There are not many references to the patron deity of this sanctuary, for which reason it has been possible to acquire it, either by buying the little existing bibliography or by contacting people with experience in this pantheon. With respect to the activities that I want to carry out, we must emphasize that Mexico is an insecure country, and this has not allowed me to develop certain activities or exercises as I would like. That is why I want people to feel safe in the expected Ereshkigal Proto-Temple, creating a network of support and trust.
Who has been the greatest help to you during your time in the tradition?
Lady Ayra, Alseret, High Priestess, Lord Eblis Z. Zolares, Pendragon, High Priest, Lord Tine Estrella de la Tarde, High Priest.
What do you think is most needed by the Correllian tradition in its future?
Greater accessibility for the Spanish-speaking community in the networks and teachings.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Did a lovely job. We appreciate it.
Reverend Gary, please enter and step forward.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Are you ready for the questioning to begin?
I am.
Okay. Can you tell us about the group what group are you reading for, and can you tell us about that group?
I am reading for Bosque del Norte, for Reverend Silvia, Florencia, Bedregal, Calvinisti,
And where is this group located?
in Guatemala.
What are the temple's main goals and purposes?
First, to help promote paganism in Guatemala. Second, to introduce the principles of Wicca. Third, introduce the principles of the Correllian tradition in Guatemala. Fourth, to provide a meeting place for people who want to know and or learn about the Correllian tradition. And fifth, contribute to the formation of dedicants in Guatemala. Guatemala being a distinctly conservative country where 2 largest religions are Catholic and Evangelical, The work of the temple will be a little difficult because Wicca and paganism are a taboo subject. However, it is expected several activities undertaken virtually be promoted with people who are in search of living spaces with people with similar structures of thought. The idea is that the temple gives to the Guatemala people space to meet another pagans in the country. I consider the temple help people in Guatemala can go to a place where they can receive formal training and to be provided with accurate information.
Can you give specific details on what you and your members have done in the last year?
We have gathered to celebrate Sabbats and Esbats. We meet once a month in person to carry out the evaluation of the lesson that corresponds, virtual meetings to resolve doubts about lessons, and we have resolved doubts about what is the Correllian tradition.
How often does your temple meet?
Once a month in person, once or twice a week in a virtual way.
How many members do you have?
5.
Okay. What has been the greatest challenge you have faced since first becoming a Correllian Proto-Temple, and how did you handle it?
Because Guatemala is a very traditional country, extremely Catholic and evangelical, having to defend my beliefs and make known that Wicca really is, Wicca really is, has been a challenge this year. As I mentioned when requesting approval to be Proto-Temple, the work in Guatemala would be long and heavy, but more and more spaces have been open to accept new beliefs within the country.
In what way has being a pagan most benefited you in your life?
Being pagan has connected me more to my inner being and to the nature that surrounds me. Being able to connect with the deities has given me inner peace and has allowed me to share that peace with others. I have learned to heal my wounds and help the people around me to heal theirs that they allow me.
What has been the greatest challenge that you faced as a pagan?
Having to deal with people who believe they have the absolute truth and that the religion they profess is the only true one. To show him that my spiritual path has nothing to do with worshiping what they know as Satan and that I do not sacrifice animals. My sister-in-law is a Catholic religion fanatic, and she has moved my brother away from me in these months with the speech that I'm a worshiper of the devil. I believe that ignorance of people is one of my biggest challenges.
Is your temple primarily a real-time or online group, or a mixture of both? And what special challenges does your format offer you?
It is a mixture of both. The challenge presented by this type of format is that some people still want to remain anonymous, as it is a taboo subject in Guatemala.
What projects do you have planned for the next year, and will a successful deeming make any difference to your projects?
This new year, I plan to initiate a monthly devotion to Diana and invite the pagan community to participate actively in it. Also, continue to support with the project of the magazine Pisada de Bruja of the Temple of Hecate.
What kind of projects do you hope to work on in the next 10 years? What are you preparing? How are you preparing for these, and how can we help you prepare for these?
I would love to help spread better what is paganism in Guatemala. As I have mentioned many times, Guatemala is a country full of many taboos and with most of the Catholic and a Christian population. I would like to make several campaigns that show the population what paganism really is and allow them to have a place to go in search of the answers about Wicca and paganism.
What special challenges, if any, do you face in your area that might be different from shrines, proto-temples, or temples elsewhere?
The culture of Guatemala, which believes that any religion that is not Catholic or evangelical is a kind of demon from which the book of religion. So it is a real challenge to have a small presence here.
Who has been the greatest help to you during your time in the tradition?
Lady Ayra Alseret and Lord Eblis Pendragon have been the two people who have given me the most help and guidance throughout my stay in the tradition, not only support, but guides, mentors, and friends.
What do you think is most needed by the Correllian tradition in its future?
I believe that we continue translating into Spanish and other languages the diversity of courses that the tradition has. I think another important step would be for which school to have the platform in Spanish as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Lord Phoenix, please enter.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Are you ready for the questioning to begin?
Absolutely.
Okay. What is the group that you're reading for?
I am reading for Proto-Temple data.
Okay, and where's this group located?
Madrid, España.
What are the Proto-Temple's main purposes and goals?
The main purpose is to continue offering Wicca classes of the Correllian tradition, in addition to expanding Cometicism by the Spanish-speaking community, participating in activities with other sanctuaries, proto-temples, and temples in the region, and creating research groups on topics related to paganism.
Are you a virtual or an in-person physical Witan Shrine?
Both.
Can you give specific details on what you and your members have done in the last year?
We have created the Chapel of Osiris, a monthly ritual to the new moon, open to everyone to honor Osiris and the ancestors. We have adopted the current calendar to the Egyptian calendar, showing the festivities carried out each day, the day's events, and the predictions for it, based on the Kairos calendar and an intense investigation. We upload articles to our regular blog about Wicca, Cometicism, and paganism in general, where all the members of the temple participate. We continue with our project, Book of Hymns, where weekly we share an original hymn to the Egyptian gods. People are usually the ones who decide what god is dedicated to them that week. We have a Facebook group and an Instagram to let us know each other better. We have participated in the activities of the Day of the Goddess in the Temple of Goddess in Madrid. We regularly perform rituals at Sabbats and Esbats. We actively participate in projects of other temples, proto-temples, and shrines. We collaborate with the Temple of Hecate in the Guard of the Flame of Hecate, the Temple of Hecate being the Reverend Mestet Sahor, part of the Project Council. Some members collaborate with the Guard of the Flame of Anubis of the Anubis Temple. We collaborate with the activities of the Day in Paganism in Barcelona, an annual event that organizes the Temple of Goddess in Barcelona, Spain, giving talks and workshops. We are part of the Order of Candiapiles, participating in its activities, and we are part of the Order of Artificers.
How often do you meet?
Every 15 days at least.
What has been the greatest challenge you have faced since first becoming a Correllian Witan Shrine, and how did you handle it?
When we founded the sanctuary, our two Kemetic groups in Spain, which are in conflict, attacked us from all sides. They were based on Cometicism is not Wicca to attack us. Basically, it seems that they had only the right to use the name of the Egyptian gods. Luckily, I have been working Cometicism for many years now. I have written articles, developed material, and performed rituals. I had to deal with those envies and silence everyone's mouth. In the end, one of the most criticized has ended up studying in the shrine.
What has been the greatest challenge you have faced as a pagan?
Maybe with my family. I guess it happens to everyone the same. They do not understand it, and they consider this to be like a game. They do not respect our convictions. Maybe they look at it with curiosity, but when you inquire more into it, they get scared. Normalizing it in my family has perhaps been the biggest challenge.
Is your Witan Shrine primarily a real-time or online group, or a mixture of both? And what special challenges does your format offer you?
It is a mixture of both. This allows me to meet with students who are nearby and to perform the corresponding rituals. At the same time, I do not deny the teaching to those who are at a distance. We can use video conferencing by Skype to clarify doubts. This format allows me to expand my sites far from my close circles. This, at the same time, greatly enriches the sanctuary, which feeds on its people.
What projects do you have planned for the next year, and will a successful deeming make any difference in your projects?
This year, I will finish the second grade, continue giving Wicca classes, continue with the aforementioned shrine projects, cooperate with other shrines and temples, Wiccas or not, of the region and other parts of the world, and develop an Egyptian oracle that we have already started in the shrine. A successful deeming should not change things, but it is the logical and necessary evolution to continue. On a personal level, it would be like tradition recognizes our work and gives us the strength to move forward. At a tradition level, this will open more doors since the people of it will see that we are a very active sanctuary.
What kind of projects do you hope to work on in the next 10 years? What are you doing to prepare for these? And how can we help you prepare for these?
That do not usually plan so long. I understand that in the next few years I will finish the 2nd grade and the 3rd grade. The project, the Chapel of Osiris, will be bigger. We will have our personal oracle of the tradition, since by then we will be Temple, and the 2 study groups we have in progress, Magical Plants of Ancient Egypt and the Power of the Stones in Ancient Egypt, they will have reached a good port. For my part, I studied my degree to achieve it, research and publicize the project of the Chapel of Osiris. In turn, the tradition, if it shows its support in all this and the active participation in our rituals, would be enough support.
What special challenges, if any, do you face in your area that might be different from temples elsewhere?
Spain is an ultra-Catholic country, where paganism is not well seen or is seen as freakish. In addition, 2 Correllian temples in Spain, the Temple of Bridget and the Temple of Anubis, are constantly engaged in disturbing the rest of temples and Spanish-speaking shrines as if they had the sole power over Wicca Correllian in the country. Even so, we continue working despite the gossips and the obstacles that put us, and ignore them. Do not enter the fight, as my mentor has taught me.
Who has been the greatest help to you during your time in the tradition?
Lady Ayra Alseret, because all my way before even being in the tradition, has helped me unconditionally, has supported me in my project, and has helped me with the language barrier.
How many members do you have?
I currently have 5 dedicants for the 1st degree and 5 members in the outer court.
Thank you very much. Good job. We appreciate it.
Reverend Anastasia, would you please enter and come forward?
Good afternoon. Are you ready for the questioning to begin? Tell us what group you're reading for and where they're located.
I'm reading for the Luna Menforte, Proto-Temple of the Waning Moon in Spain.
And what are the Proto-Temple's main purposes and goals?
It is focused on the crone aspect, the waning moon as main reference to know thyself, especially the individual use of knowledge and spirituality to find balance.
Are you virtual or an in-person physical Witan Shrine?
Both.
Give specific details on what you and your members have done in the last year.
After a long pause of almost 3 years, we decided to pull back together, even with the original members being divided in 3 countries, Spain, Morocco, UK, and Poland. We worked together and developed a meditation and ritual that we perform together at the same time, but not online, every waning moon, and also using as a base the Sea Priestess course knowledge. We are focusing in the shadow self, deep, and advanced work to create the sand path, which is still in progress.
How often do you meet?
Minimum once per month during the waning moon, or right before the new moon we meet online, and then we try to meet at least twice a year.
What has been the greatest challenge you have faced since first becoming a Correllian Witan Shrine? How did you handle it?
The loss of one of the shrine members. When Ishmael left us, we fell apart. There was no way to handle it, as I was totally broken, unable to find difference between sadness and anger, and so were the other shrine members. In the end, it was the time that made us calm down, mourn our friend, and cool down our minds.
What has been the greatest challenge you have faced as a pagan?
In Morocco, with Muslims, and also in Poland with strict Catholics, being able to explain to them my faith and religion, removing the ugly stereotypes about us, and mostly about practicing black magic and stuff like that, and causing no drama.
In what way has being a pagan most benefited you in your life?
It opened my mind to very different points of view to enrich my spiritual life. There's no right or wrong path, and being able to understand that, it freed me in so many other ways and aspects of my life.
Is your Witan Shrine primarily a real-time or online group or a mixture of both? What special challenges does your format offer?
Both because for every member's situation we are separated. We try to meet for autumn and spring equinox. Meanwhile, we use online format for our shrine project, the Sand Path, which makes it easier for us to keep in contact and also bonding together.
What projects do you have planned for the next year, and will a successful deeming make any difference to your projects?
As mentioned, we work a lot to create the Sand Path. We want to go deeper into shadow self-work, as we experienced in our own life how self-sabotage can destroy a big idea, delay plans, and erase every chance of happiness. That delayed this shrine and its members' plans for 3 years as we didn't know how to face the sadness and pain of the loss of Ishmael, and we don't want that those emotions will take control of our lives again. To have a successful deeming will mean a big boost up, as will mean we get the support and approval of the tradition, especially for something that may help many other Correllians too.
What kinds of projects do you hope to work on in the next 10 years? And what are you doing to prepare for these? How can we help you prepare for them?
We focus on shadow work. We understand the light and darkness, but we keep a special focus in shadows, those nightmares that may look powerful but turn weak when we face them. We dive into our own oceans, reach the desert, the nothingness that's arid and empty, and work hard to create an oasis there, heal our emotional wounds, and face all those hidden fears that can return and ruin our peace. I fully want to focus on that, and I do my best to travel wherever necessary to learn from first-hand introspective techniques to improve this work. The tradition has already helped a lot with the Sea Priestess course by Reverend Stephanie, and we using those teachings as the main book for us.
What special challenges, if any, do you face in your area that might be different from other temples elsewhere?
As we move back to Spain after being in Morocco and Poland, I can say for the first time this area now is calm and secure. The unique Moroccan member of the shrine, Fatima, moved with me to work in Poland, and after we returned to Spain and is living in my home with no special challenges at this time, thank goodness.
Who has been the greatest help to you during your time in the Correllian tradition?
Lady Stephanie Neal. Even though she may not know it, I finished the Sea Priestess course back in January of 2014 in the Witch School, but during my hardest time, I went over and over to the teachings, reading a million times. Her work and knowledge has been there for me 24/7. Sometimes I think if it wasn't for those things, I would be in a very different place right now, not in a pleasant way.
How many members do you have?
5.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Reverend Sir Elizabeth Hamilton, HP, who is going to be representing via cell phone the Right Reverend Sir Ed Correll, HP.
Ed, can you hear everybody?
I can hear everybody.
Hello, Lord Ed, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. So, thank you for having us today.
Well, thank you for being here, and thank you for joining us. Can you tell us about Universal Temple of Gaia, formerly Holy City Temple?
Yes, it's and during time, an operation, assembly I ran called, we formed it with Don and I, and actually you have the honor to not be the First Tabernacle Choir, church. I always want to say that. And basically, Pete Pathfinder Davis, Reverend Davis, actually helped us formulate the first laws and bylaws, and so this temple formed up. A number of years ago, it was retired, or basically put into condition until the time was to resurrect it. And at this point, we need a place to begin another sort of mission with this temple. And it's just, instead of creating a new temple, I want to reactivate this one in a strongly new format.
Okay, can you tell us about the temple's main purposes and your goals?
Absolutely. I'm going to let my joint head, Elizabeth, answer those two questions.
So the Universal Temple of Gaia will serve. The Universal Temple of Gaia will serve as home for the Paladinal Order, which will serve as administration and teachers for this order. It is going to be an in-temple Paladinal Order. The formal purpose of this Paladinal Order will be to live in service of Gaia, who is the living mother of us all, and to provide for the common good of life, to serve as stewards of the land, and guardians of hearth and hall, and protectors of family and kin.
Are you a virtual or an in-person physical temple?
The Universal Temple of Gaia will be both a physical temple and virtual temple. And we are a registered church under Illinois law as Universal Temple of Gaia CNT.
Can you give specific details on?
Offer another look at that. We're not just going to be an online or offline temple. We're going to be a cyber temple in the sense of that under the Correllian tradition, which is unique to us, is that there's very little difference between the physical realm, the spiritual realm, and now for ourselves, our technosis, or our technical realm. It's literally just like the mother temple in the school, Universal Temple of Gaia, which will have its headquarters in Chicago, Illinois, will also be equally as home in cyberspace.
Can you give specific details on what you and your members have done in the last year?
Right Reverend Ser Ed Correll has been working in the area of environmental healing in Chicago, Illinois, including seed swaps and food waste diversion programs as ministry. With the tradition, Reverend Ed has been focused on coaching, training, and developing a marketing team for the Daily Spell. And through Witch and Famous Agency, I have been working with Reverend Ed to develop a webinar-based teaching and training platform from which all Wiccans and pagans can benefit. Not only the students, but the teachers as well. And I also have been traveling for the Daily Spell as a reporter, most recently having had the honor to interview the Lady Selena Fox of Circle Sanctuary. I have also returned to Pagans Tonight Radio Network as a guest host on occasion.
How often do you meet?
Using cyberspace, we will be maintaining continuous communication across a spectrum of formats. This will allow us to have our leadership be in flow, allowing for real-time decisions and capabilities to occur. The officers will meet virtually at least once a quarter for reviewing the temple's actions and goals. At festivals and events, we will identify ourselves at our discretion and as the organizers are agreeable with, to serve as volunteers, meet to help and provide requested support to those events and festivals. And during Correllian Lustrations, both regional and national, we will provide volunteer services and host a chapter meeting of the Universal Temple of Gaia for attending the temple membership. So basically, we meet as often as possible, in short.
And how many members do you have at this time?
We have 6 confirmed members at the time.
And upon acceptance of this deeming, the Universal Temple of Gaia will be extending invitations of members
to all Correllians who are currently recognized as recognized as members of the Meritorious Order of Paladins in good standing, and to members of Holy City Temple, as it was before.
Lord Ed, do you have any other comments that you'd like to make while you're with us?
So, is Reverend John, is most Reverend around?
Yes.
I would be over here.
Address one aspect of this. So, the reason we're coming before Deeming is that basically this isn't going to be a political temple, which is a new fashion, and so our leadership will represent that. Because one of the things, as I found out last night, is discussing common ground. Like we have already begun with Most Reverend Stephanie Neal. We've discussed it actually in Chicago. I have a seed bank that has already been begun on behalf of the Correllian tradition in this aspect, under the Paladin structure. If anyone has a question about Paladin structure, Most Reverend Don to the Lewis high ground can explain that if it's necessary. But we're going to actually be focused on a very service-oriented pattern, which has a high impact because the Order of Paladins is one of our most oldest and senior orders, and it has gotten poorly treated over the years for various reasons. And this is a chance for us to create it, to pass it on to the next generation. A very literal passing of physical objects and things of that, work with the other groups to provide what they need. This is not going to be a group that's going to be a militant group, as everybody says it, but it is a group in service, seeking to deal with some of this very physical world material. And our leadership group is going to represent that.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any other comments? Lord Don, Lady Stephanie?
Well, the only thing I would reference again is that this is a continuation of Holy City Temple, which is the third oldest temple in the tradition, but with a new focus, which is why it's come to Deeming.
I guess I'll add that this should have happened years ago to put this back online because it's such a needed service to the tradition. And I thank you, Lord Ed, for providing a new start.
He's got some sirens in the background there.
Downtown Chicago. Literally in the middle of downtown Chicago at his farm right now. He is a dirt farmer, so he's taking a few minutes.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Lord Don and Lady Stephanie, do you have any final comments?
We both appreciate the fact that so many people are working so hard with such high caliber effort and with pure hearts. And I know sometimes you may not feel that we are seeing and appreciating you, but we do see you and we do appreciate you. And everything we do is all about coming closer, all membership coming closer with each other and to the leadership.
And I would like to say that this is the 13th year of the Deemsters Council. And 13 years ago, we began the council rather suddenly. And today we have seen groups with a reach from North America all the way down to Argentina, Spain, Morocco, many countries represented in the 8 temples that have come forward for Deeming. And I think this is a wonderful development in our tradition. we've spent many years working to become a vigorous international presence, but it's very nice to see that we actually are. And I want to say that we do feel strongly our commitment to our Spanish-speaking members, and are very pleased by how active and industrious the Spanish-speaking Correllian world is.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
At this time, this will be the end of the deeming ceremony, and the deeming committee will reconvene at a later time, and the results will be announced during announcements during the lustration ritual tomorrow.